Hey, welcome to EPS Paratalk. I'm Robert. This is.
I'm Laura. And I'm Stephanie.
We also have Jeremy.
Hey guys.
And Danny.
Hello.
Hey, all year he's never going to change. He's one word. Hello. Everybody's getting squared away here for a second. Yay, Stephanie's on. Hey, glad to have you. Dwayne, thanks for being on. David, letting everybody else jump on for a minute. Steph, how was your day today?
It was good. I went back to work today.
Did you?
Yeah. Wasn't fun.
Work.
It's not supposed to be.
Laura, how you doing, Laura?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Busy still.
Well, you're still playing on the retail side
After
of it, so.
retail, gift cards, and returns. The worst part of the year, returns.
Kathy, thanks for being on with us. We're going to talk a little bit about the year that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go, we actually have a few different topics we want to talk about, but some of it's going to be about the year, some of the things we came across, some of the learning curves that we've had. Definitely want to give everybody out there a great big thank you. We definitely appreciate that, having a good time. So just keep it easy for just a minute, see if anybody else jumps on, and we'll get moving here. While we're thinking about it, think of what was the best thing that happened or best experience you had this past year? Think of that for a minute. Go back through for just a second. Becky, Brian, thanks for being on. Sorry, Susan, thank you so much for being on.
Kathy, and I saw Bill on the bottom as well.
Bill was on. David's on.
Thanks, guys.
Guys, thanks so much for being on. We appreciate it. Bill, definitely hats off to you. Bill gave us a stream deck that we're working on. We got the OBS studio we're working on. Camlink. We got all kinds of awesome.
All kinds of fun things for 2019.
Awesome stuff coming up, and that's all thanks to Bill, which we appreciate it so much.
Carrie, hey.
Carrie, haven't seen her for a while. That's
Abby,
awesome.
And hey, Debbie. Or Deborah, sorry.
Deborah. Used to work with Deborah. And Abby's on. That's great. Robert, welcome back, buddy. Hopefully everybody had a great holiday. Hope all you guys had a great holiday. You know, there's some unfortunately tearjerkers out there as far as different things that happened to some people and everything, but there's been some really good stuff going on. So we're looking forward to 2019, bringing it in.
Ready to get some new cases started.
Most definitely.
Yep.
I got a case I want to start too.
Yeah.
The one at Joel's house. You'll have some good stuff going on.
There's weird things going on.
James and Nina, thanks for being on with us. We appreciate it. Same thing for you guys. If there's one thing in particular that stands out for this past year that you guys liked, as far as for anybody who's been around with us at all, we'd love to know what you guys, whether it was an investigation or something else that you guys really enjoyed, let us know. Same thing, Danny and Jeremy, think about that. Try to come up with something that you can pick out from this past year that was really interesting. You liked it, you didn't like it, it's fine.
There's been some cool stuff. It's hard to say which one out of all of it. I'm having a hard time.
Just pick one, though. It is hard to ration it down to one.
Yeah.
Hey, Gilson, what I was asking just now, as far as for us, and same thing for everybody else, want to find out what is one thing that sticks out in your mind for this past year? Experience, idea, something you tried, whatever. Really like to have an idea for all the team members. So it'd be kind of neat. And all the viewers. That'd be awesome, too. Again, you'll be seeing Gilson's name up there. He is obviously not up here in front of the camera for a change. Unfortunately, he's a little under the weather, so we hope Gilson feels better. Gladly. Anytime throughout the night, if you have a question, feel free to go ahead and post your question. If we do not answer it in a few minutes, please type it back in there. We've got two people behind the cameras trying to stay up with the comments. Did you have something?
I was going to say that I think the thing that stood out most to me this year was when we went to the cabin 360. Now, granted, the things that happened that they said would happen didn't, but I think it was the connection that I had in the woods.
Wasn't on live. It was separate.
It was separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that connection was new for me.
The connection with the little girl that you had. Gotcha. Okay. That experience, that was all very new to you?
Yeah, it was very new to me. It was something different, and I just didn't expect that.
Right.
So it was definitely something new for me.
I think I would have to say Janie's house, because that was the first time I'd ever actually had something physically affect me and make me sick and actually have to leave.
Right.
And it was very interesting that night. There were a lot of strange things going on. So I think Janie's house was definitely the big one for me this year.
I'd honestly have to say the bash.
All right, just speak louder though. Just
The Battlefield Bash, just the connections we made and
okay,
the
that's a
fun
good
we
point.
had, and you know, finally getting to meet a lot of the people that watch us, as far as like with Deadlight and you know, that kind of thing. Getting the Deadlight from Josh that whole weekend and what it benefited.
That was a blast.
That was cool.
Finally, actually getting to meet Jennifer and Tom after all the times that we've talked to them was pretty awesome.
Hit Gills real quick. Definitely the experience in Gettysburg when we did the crossover out there. That was the soldier that was too scared to go to sleep because he knew he was going to pass if he went to sleep, and his mom actually came for him. So I know how some people could take it with a grain of salt. We know what we experienced. It was awesome. Sue, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Sue.
Steph, you got anything in particular stands out?
No, not that I've experienced, of course, but just watching when you guys were at the Devil's House. I watched, you know, the first round when the attack happened, and you know, just being able to witness it, you know, watching you guys live was pretty cool.
That was quite different. I mean, and again, that's a learning curve. I was, for one, would be the first one to tell you, I honestly did not believe in the power of the cult, you know, that could conjure up. But after the experience that we had there, a whole new believer in that. Don't care for it, but we'll deal with it as it comes. Missy, just want to say hi to you, give you a shout out. We definitely appreciate you being on with us. Heard back from Sheila recently also. She's doing really well. She's still really tired, but she's doing really, really fantastic. So glad to hear it.
She did say she was going to try to jump on tonight.
If she does, that would be great. Love to have her out there. Finally getting our all-female team together.
Awesome.
Excellent, Susan. That's fantastic. By all means. And again, keep us in touch. We'd love to know what you guys are getting. Love to hear what you guys get out there. Always. That's never going to change.
Yeah, it's always cool to hear what other people experience or what they come up with that they try, because there's some really cool ideas that we've been told that we've done in the field after other people have told us the ideas. So always good to try new
Danny
things.
pulled up Google Translate at Cabin in the 360.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
That was really cool.
Can you just go over that for a second, describe what we were doing?
Yeah, I wasn't there then.
I think we walked in towards when you guys had started it. But we walked in, you guys had your little session going, and you guys were getting back, it sounded like, in Spanish. So
had the ITC Collaboration Pro running, and then Danny went ahead and pulled up the Google Translate. So he could sit there and type in the question in English, play it in English so we knew what it was saying. Then he'd play it in whichever language and let it say it like in Spanish, and see whether or not we got that through the ITC Collaboration Pro, which is that was a really cool idea.
And I think we went live for a small session.
We did do a live session of it. Tried to explain it to everybody out there so they had an idea. And again, that was off the cuff.
And we got flashlights too with it and everything, and that was in the middle of the day.
The crazy part about that whole thing is here's Danny, starts laying down on the floor next to her, like, what are you doing? And he starts typing. He didn't even tell us what he was doing. All of a sudden, we're hearing this question come out in Spanish. We're like, okay. Awesome.
Again, it was on the fly. We had no idea it was going to come out, so it was really neat. You know, again, that was Danny that came up with that idea. So there is technology out there you can use to your benefit, and that is definitely something to use to your benefit. Robert, can't hardly read that. I tried the ITC Collaboration Pro, didn't really like it. And again, some people are going to like it, some people are not going to like it. You either like it or you don't, but don't just try anything one time.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's your biggest downfall. If you do, you'll be sorry for it.
You got to get your settings just right for you. I usually try to make it go pretty slow, because otherwise it's too fast and it all jumbles together and it's hard to hear.
Yep.
So it's easier if you slow most all of it down.
And he's going.
I don't like the echo.
Henny's going crazy right now sharing this for us.
Thank you so much, Henny. We really appreciate it very much. Going back to that with the ITC Collaboration Pro, the echo is the only downside that I don't like about it. I'm not a fan of
it's the only thing we don't really use within that.
Hearing your own voice. What happens is you can actually hear your own voice getting caught in it. And to me, that's where we have a problem with. We don't want to contaminate what's coming towards us.
Thanks for joining us, Robin.
Henny, again, thank you so much. You're such a sweetheart. We appreciate it so much for everything you do. She's awesome. That is great. So, Robert, thank you also for going ahead and sharing. It's okay if you don't have a positive experience and you want to let us know. We prefer to know. We want to know. He tried the flashlights. He didn't get anything with the flashlights in particular.
I can't get him to do
It's
anything
okay.
in my house or at my work, and I know there's things in both places.
Oh, yeah, I know you're, especially, yeah.
Yeah, but they
you
won't
ain't
work.
kidding.
I did get the one in my yard to turn it on before.
Did you?
Mm-hmm. He
So,
likes me.
any type of apps, tools, equipment that you use, do not try just one time, please. I don't want you to set yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
You don't have to feel like, hey, I've tried it, it never worked.
But some places they don't work.
They don't. We use flashlights at locations, they work like a champ. We use flashlights at locations, they don't come on at all.
Nope.
It doesn't matter who puts them out.
Like at the temple, some days it'd be hit or miss, you know.
Yeah, some days it'd be
Yep.
really great, other days get nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Some people talk about where you have particular travel going down like a particular hallway or stairs you see a lot of stuff on. One of the suggestions we want to throw out there is you can go on eBay and get this incredibly fine powder. I mean, it's so fine you're going to hardly see it, but it's very, very fine. And you can actually put some paper down on like the steps or down a hallway. You can actually spread it out. It's glow in the dark, so as soon as you hit it with light, it lights up, which to me would be really cool to be able to see some
Some what, footprints?
tracks going somewhere.
Yeah.
Some people, originally people used to use flour, which is perfectly fine to do.
Or baby powder.
Baby powder, get a small sifter for it and everything, kind of sprinkle it out there. It's not very expensive and it goes a long ways.
Mm-hmm.
Another possibility, again, it's just an idea we're throwing out there for you. Just know it. Now I can't get the powder off. It's pretty cool. Anytime you have something different to try, again, give it a few shots. If it works, you like it, man, definitely throw it out there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
question for you guys. What do you all want to see more of in 2019?
good question. Really good question. Definitely like to know. What is it about the live feed in particular, that you might like? What is it about particular topics that you want to hear more about?
Mm-hmm.
Some people like the audio. Some people like just seeing stuff on the downloads we do.
I know
We
they
do
always
videos.
like to hear the evidence. That's always something that they want to hear.
We've had, and it's okay by all means. One of the, Robert, I'm talking about yours right now. He's talking about the spirits might have been older as far as in the backyard. Not sure if they could, grasp because of the time frame and everything. And he did call them torches and stuff like that, and that's fine. We've had Native Americans.
We call them fire sticks.
Fire sticks. When I first was taking pictures, because the flash would go off, one Native American was, and this is going through Janie, our medium. She's going, he doesn't understand how can you have lightning from your hand. Again, it's going to blow some minds with the technology we have as opposed to the old days. But it's that conversation. That's why you got to definitely take the time to explain it. So great point, Robert. Appreciate that.
He would love to hear more about paranormal theories and discussing them.
That's a good idea, by all means. It never hurts to open it up. What is it, more deadlines?
More deadlines.
Can you elaborate on that? I'm missing something.
Or more dead lights, is that supposed to be? I'm confused.
Missy, elaborate on yours for us. Bill,
Was it Missy?
stop.
More hot rods.
If it was Missy, she's probably meaning more dead lights.
That's what I'm thinking.
She's with those guys.
Bill, if you want to do more hot rods, maybe we can do a Paratalk in my garage.
There you go.
On location.
When you do your house, we can cut away to your.
There we go.
hot rod.
There we
That'd
go.
be fine.
You have to wait for your new car though to be done.
Yeah, then I'll have two.
Mm-hmm.
As far as going to Missy's point, that did really, really help us out dramatically. Josh Bender has Deadlight. If you are looking for an IR light, oh my gosh, that's the only lights we actually use. They work
She
fantastic.
says we need more dead lines.
Yeah, but just in case, I don't know what dead lines actually mean. The dead lights would make sense.
Dead
Considering
lights.
who it is.
Dead lights.
It
Yeah.
just says you need more dead lines.
No, scroll down.
Oh, she typed it wrong again.
Stop. Anyway, she's talking about the Deadlight. If you're looking for an IR light that you want that will absolutely blow your mind how good they are, the Deadlights are fantastic by far.
Robin was grateful with the help with Audacity. She
Awesome.
very much likes that.
Awesome. And again, if there's something else you want to learn about, and we will be doing some editing for video, we'll give you a name of some software that we use. One that I use in particular, it's pretty inexpensive. It's $25 is what I got mine for. But if you want to be able to go ahead and edit a lot of your videos, it's a good product to use, and we'll actually do some, walk you through it, put some videos out there how to use that. Again, any ideas you guys have, we want to put it out there. Bill's going to make one for OBS eventually, I hope, Bill, Studio, so you can really put a lot of it out there for us on Facebook.
He just said it too.
Good timing, Bill.
Bill, you're
Appreciate it.
doing that one because we're figuring that one out.
Or Bill should come visit. And
Yeah.
do one together.
We are going to actually, and this is something we do enjoy doing, and we have not done it very often. Like we have Bill on. If anybody has been following us, you know that Bill's on here quite a bit. We've yet to have him live with us, but we'll end up one way or another. We're going to put him in with us so we can have him and actually talk to him about a little bit about his experiences.
Maybe we could even have a drawing to win for them to come on live with us.
That would be neat too. And again, we are going to do some drawings even when we do our lives and stuff. We're going to give away some stuff this year, have some fun with it. It'll be a blast. Susan, just think about what you're looking for and some ideas. Josh will custom for you, or if you want some suggestions, you can talk to these guys. They'll give you plenty of suggestions depending on what you're working with. Which Josh, because he's in the field, he already knows what works really well depending on your setup. If you're going to be outside, if you're usually indoors, different things. Some of them can really adjust with the power. Definitely worth checking out.
Bill's gonna wear a dress.
No, Bill, you're not. We're going to do a screenshot right there, Bill. That's going to
I
be
was
it.
getting ready to say, I'll just turn that camera off.
Oh, Robin got a new REM pod for Christmas.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Hey, Amber.
Bill said I lost what he was doing.
He just said did A.
He
Yeah.
might have hit enter too soon.
Yeah, which is why I just said I lost what he was saying. Jeez. Amber. Hey, we were asking Amber, for anybody who's jumping on now, we were just asking, what's one thing in particular you would like to see more of, possibly, either on the feeds or on the topics we talked
Speaking of
about?
Josh, hey Josh.
Look at there, his ears were burning. All right, so anybody's looking for an IR, Josh is on here right now, IR light. Josh is on right now. He is the maker of the deadlights. So feel free to go ahead and ping him up anytime you want.
Just blow up his messenger. It's fine. It's fine. He loves it.
The reason why we keep talking about Josh a lot is because his customer service and his craftsmanship is phenomenal, and the price is just perfect. So if anybody has followed me at all, you know what my favorite price is. Very cheap to zero. Considering the light that you get from him, you're not paying an arm and leg.
Gilson had a question. Did anyone get any paranormal tools for Christmas?
Gilson, right above what you were just saying, it was the REM pod. What's up with that?
They read his mind before he got it up there.
Josh, you got deadlights to make those deadlights.
Oh, Bill. Keep it rolling. Love it. What's the worst thing happened this year? Anything in particular? Worst thing that stands out in your mind? Worst experience? Worst anything? Anything come out to you guys? Mine is the biggest.
What's up, buddy?
The biggest drop was going to one of these popular locations that didn't have
Oh yeah.
activity.
Yeah.
One of which
that
Gilson
was
was like
really-
the most activity there was
really
Gilson doing the
disappointing.
entertainment.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why we stay away from the
Big,
popular
yeah.
locations.
Yeah. They've been investigated so much.
Susan got a camcorder with normal and IR lighting.
Sweet.
Awesome. Awesome.
Put
Tom's
that
on
to
there.
use.
Griffin just jumped on there. Cindy Griffin.
Well, it's just above. We just go back up just a little
No,
bit.
that was from
That
the
was from the
start.
beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree that going to a location that was said to have all this stuff and they're telling us all these great things and then like
Yes.
none of it happened. Not even the noises. And we're like,
No.
man,
Yeah, I mean,
Stinks.
you kind of get set up
Yeah.
for that, unfortunately, and we know some of it's going to happen that way. We know things will happen.
Mhm.
And the reaction that we're going to get now as a team that we've noticed over the last couple of years, the reactions that we're getting are definitely different than what most people are going to get. I mean, all of a sudden it seems to be any one of us can go to a location, and all of a sudden it's like they're like
Nothing.
trying to be quiet. Ooh, I'm not here. Like they think they're going to get in trouble or something.
yeah.
Robin wants to know how to deal with a spirit that is hurting people. They have a case that is happening now.
If you haven't, I'm trying to summarize this up, make it a little bit quicker for you. You can always reach out to us. We'd
Awesome,
love to give you.
Robert.
We'd love to go ahead and give you more information, but in a generic sense, because I don't know what the situation is, Robin. Anybody that has somebody who's getting hurt, first and foremost is if you're going to go there, you definitely have to be the strong one, and it's strong mentally. You don't have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger to be able to go ahead and bench press a Jeep or anything, but you do mentally have to be very strong, and that's trying to get them through education also to start diffusing the situation. And unfortunately, if the parents are really wound up about it, the kids will feed off the parents, and it's just a slippery slope. It makes it really hard at that point. Education is number one. You can do a lot with education. Networking, if you give us a little bit more information, Robin, or who was it, Robin, or who was it? I'm sorry. We'll be glad to go ahead and help you out with that any way we can as well. There are other steps you can certainly take. For anybody, it depends on what you're dealing with. Some people, it's obviously going to be their imagination. We know that. We know some people have imaginations that are way off the chart, not through their fault. Other locations, it's going to be high EMF readings. Will absolutely give them crazy night terrors and whatnot. We had a client this year that your millimeter and my millimeter both pinged off at 199.5. That's as high as they would go. That was crazy in her bedroom. Yep. So no wonder she was having crazy nightmares and night terrors and everything else, which she's never had before.
It was partly because of the EMF in the house, so that was a logical explanation, not even really anything paranormal.
It was crazy off.
She had said that the owner of the home can't keep any tenants in there.
We actually have gone to locations because of this, to actually remove what's there. It's harder when you have a house structure that is shared. If you townhouses are really hard if you have another residence in the other portion of the house. Duplex is the same thing. If it's a single family house, much easier. It's definitely viable. You can definitely move whatever's nasty in there out. We did that. We've done that multiple times.
She seems to pick on the men.
Which is usually opposite from where we go.
Yeah.
Well, again, it depends on what's happened in the past. It sounds like obviously, if you're saying it's a she, she's obviously had a bad dealing with probably men in her past. Sometimes it's a matter of reckoning with that and making them understand, hey, we can't change what happened in the past. Don't you want to move on and move forward? And we do crossings as well, and that has definitely happened. Helped with it, scratches and bruising. You can, some people, not everybody can do it. We push. I mean, I'll go in, we can push a certain location. We can go ahead and block with holy water. We can use salt if necessary. There's a couple other things you can do. Saging works well, but it's using it in combination, particular prayers that you use. I go to a room. I'll usually go ahead and sage the room itself. I come back to the door or the windows. I do the sign of the cross, and I do a little prayer, just letting them know nothing that's not of the God's love is allowed to enter this room. And knock on wood, it works out really, really well. A little bit more that gets into it, and then if something happens during that time, especially a scratch, which is most likely, if a scratch happens at the time, not to react to it. That's of all times when you're actually doing something, do not react when a scratch, a door slams, anything like that, do not react negatively to it. That's huge. Robin, if you have more information, like I said, I'll be glad to work with you on that. Just let me know. Not sure as far as where the woman passed at, and that's okay. Again, it's talking just like it's a normal person and trying to get into their head as well. It's no different than dealing with a demon. I mean, demonics, they're after something, and you have to kind of figure what that is and learn how. It's a crazy chess game that you're actually playing. It's not easy. Robert, should my paranormal team learn how to do crossings? That's up to anybody and everybody. What are your take on it? Learning how to do crossings, should they learn how to?
It's helpful if they decide that that's something that they want to do, but it's definitely something that you would have to learn how to do. It's not something that you can just go and do. You're
going to find out that, and we've been to locations where other teams have been to. We've been to locations where the owners of the locations felt very confident in what they do, their own abilities and whatnot. But when you start hearing this particular help, Bill, good point. You can go to the internet for help too, but you have to be really careful because half the stuff on the internet is trash, quite honestly. I'm just being, that's my point of view. We get particular helps. I mean, when you get something that's going, Laura, help me. Steph, help. Please help us. That's going beyond. When they start calling you out by name, they know that you can help them, and that's why they're calling on you. And as you get into the field and you get more experience at it, you'll find out if that's the case. The other people that were in those locations didn't have this help, and they're like, if we thought they needed help, they would have asked for it. But yet we go there, and all of a sudden they're asking for help.
And usually we don't know until we get there and have done a round or two, to see what we're dealing with.
And I think maybe they know the people that can help them as opposed to the people that can't.
That's what I'm saying.
Because it's something
really
that we've not been doing for a real long time. It's something that we've just started doing because we
did the one
learned that we could do it and that we could help them, and something then that we've started to do.
Craig, I want to say hey to you real quick. We're definitely all doing really, really well right now. Amber, we will make a ITC Collaboration Pro video to kind of go over it. We'll anytime we do a video that has functional keys that can be tuned in or out, you will have to get used to it for yourself. Point that Laura was making earlier, you have to learn to listen to what works for you. She slows it down a little bit for her. The ITC Collaboration Pro is not the same as a Spirit Box.
No.
Okay? They're both ITC, but one is completely different than the other. What if you're the only one on your team that wants to do, what was it, crossovers?
Yep.
Susan, in all sincerity, and to anybody, if you really feel compelled to do it, you can do it by yourself. You're asking for help. We ask for help from the other side. We've had viewers that have helped us. We're always asking for help from the other side as well. There's one or two angels in particular, and again, for those that think I'm just talking crazy, it's okay. Believe what you want to believe. We know what we experience, so you will learn to call on certain people, certain energies out there to help you make something happen. Becca, thanks for being on. I'm sorry. Again, we keep looking past the camera because we're just reading the comments to catch up on what's going on.
A little bit quiet tonight.
It is quiet.
Probably
I think
the holidays.
Yes.
Bill said from peeps that we know, I think he was regarding to, how we have people that
Internet.
are watching.
Yes.
You can have that too.
Yeah, as for what he was bringing up, there's a lot of very talented people that are constantly intermixed with us and everything that will follow online. And if you just kind of watch a little bit, you'll start picking up on who really has abilities or knows what's going on. Unfortunately for everybody, there's a lot of stuff that's put out there on the internet that is absolute hype. I call it parrot talk. It's like one parrot talking to another. They've never been in the field to actually find out if it's real or not, and it drives me crazy. I'm real big against that. We go by our experience, and that's all I'm talking about is from our own personal experience, what we've found works, what hasn't worked, and we're willing to admit, I told you, I didn't think as far as that the cult activity was going to go ahead and have any energy. Guess what? Surprise! When you see somebody who gets possessed right in front of you, it's pretty freaky. So there's something to it. Don't limit yourself. We're always got to be willing to learn. It's okay. None of us are too big to learn. That's for damn sure. Robin, anytime. Like I said, we'll be glad to give you a lot more information. I'll work with you some if you want. That's completely up to you. And my suggestions are just for you. If it's somebody that we're working for, the main part is the client has got to want to have help. If the client just keeps going back and keeps going back to the pond and fishing again after you get them to stop, and all of a sudden they're going back in playing a spirit box, they just bought some more equipment, now they're trying to re-engage them and they open it back up, you can't do anything about that.
Where's Robin located?
Good question.
Robin, where are you located at? Because we could always possibly find someone near her to help.
Again, we work with different companies and whatnot to actually move them out of houses. There's no magic little dust that you sprinkle and they go away. It's not that easy, but it is definitely possible. Ohio. It depends on what part of Ohio. We have.
Isn't Justin up that way?
Justin's up that way.
That's true too. That's a possibility. Have to see what he's. Well, give us the main city that you're closest to, and we'll look a couple of networks that we have.
We've got Missy.
There's 3 or 4 people that I know about that way. So if you give us the main city that you're next to.
That way. So yeah.
New Philadelphia.
Just the only problem is not everybody that has a team
knows
is
what
very
they're doing.
comfortable dealing with negative.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
okay. That's not, I'm not putting anybody down. I'm not putting any team down. It's a learning curve.
Mhm.
Some people want to learn. Some people do not want to learn, because it is pretty damn spooky that when you actually see somebody get scratched or pushed or knocked down in front of you,
Mhm.
it can really blow your mind. You know, unlike the rest of us that are saying, oh man, do him next. You know? Even Danny gets excited about it when somebody gets pushed down.
Do we need to get Danny in front of the camera to do that so they can see he's got a personality?
No.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Again, there is not every location. You know, most of the locations are perfectly harmless. They'll never bother you. I mean, more of it's the person's imagination more so than
Well, that was
anything.
one of the things we were going to touch on tonight, was the different types
Mhm.
and like how they interact with people. Because a lot of people that I know have been telling me how they have loved ones visiting them, like
Yeah.
often, and it's like a different thing, so they know that it's that person that no one else ever did.
Well, you get those signs. A lot of people
Mhm.
find certain signs. You
Mhm.
know,
Yep.
you hear all the time. The most common you hear about the penny. You know, there's no pennies on this table.
Yep.
You turn around and look, and there's a penny laying there. Where did it come from?
Mm-hmm.
Now, half the people watching are going, "That's impossible. It can't happen like that."
The one client we had where he lost the tool, just disappeared,
Yes,
showed back up.
that happens.
Yeah.
Very commonly. It's no different than you come home. You always put your keys down on a particular area. You come. Now you're going to go somewhere. You're looking for your keys. I knew I laid them right there, and now you can't find them. You look all over the house, spend an hour looking for your damn keys. You come back, my keys were not there. I know I have them there, and here they are. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
Didn't you lose a candy bar too?
yeah. I mean, don't bring up. That's the bad thing that happened this year. I lost a full king size Butterfinger. That was
Did they
really
ever give it
upset.
back to you?
No.
At least he didn't lose a cake.
Bro.
Anyway, there are some loved ones that will just leave you signs. People will have phantom smells, that like a perfume or a particular flower or
Mhm.
fragrance that was maybe it was tobacco, cigarette, especially pipe from like a grandfather figure or something. That's like loved ones coming back and forth.
Yep.
Then you have some where it's just activity happens in your house, where you could hear the loudest boom or bang and whatnot. You go and you open the door expecting to find half your basement crushed, and everything's perfectly fine. Josh, thanks for jumping on. Now, that could just be residual. We had the one location where they had the horribly loud sound of the house being crushed, basically.
Mhm.
When they talked to the landlord, they found out a tree had fallen on the house 2 years prior. Even the dog was freaking out when it went off so loud. So, pretty wild. What's the matter?
Nothing.
Family.
Okay, good. Get more family on. Come on.
We're just whispering in each other's ear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I was worrying me. Sorry, again, we have Danny and Jeremy behind the scenes. That's who I'm talking
We need
to.
to have another camera pointing at them.
We will
Okay,
with this
sure.
new
I
software.
know.
We will, so we can keep them.
You want some
Little
stuff
troublemakers
over real
over
quick? Or?
You can if you want. I'm going to explain these real
That's
quick
fine.
first.
I'm good right now.
You can have intelligent or you can have residual energy. Residual energy is basically frozen in time. It cannot harm you. It cannot hurt you. You could hear footsteps going up the stairs every night around 8 o'clock. It's a good possibility that's residual. It's just that person that used to do that was on their normal routine. That's frozen. They're not really going up there anymore. You're just hearing what used to happen. Intelligent can interact with you. That's a little bit different. They might still be in that same routine, but they can still, if somebody happens to see them and they're looking back and they're looking straight at you, that's a little different. So you have two different types of energy also. So you can have activity happening in your house, and a lot of people are fine with activity in their house. We used to get, most of the calls we used to get was just to document there was something going on, that I'm not losing my mind. And that's understandable. You know, you keep thinking you're seeing something out of your peripheral, and you really are. Right? You know, you just knew we're seeing something. Then you get to the grumpy ghost. What does Robin have?
I have sold to my father, and he passed 4 years. And I have it recorded, kind of freaks some family members out, his voice.
I can understand that. I mean, there's a lot of people that leave the recorders back when we used to always do the voicemail and recorders regular. A lot of people never erase those and keep them for decades.
Yeah.
So the next is a grumpy ghost. Now we're building up as far as the type of energies that you could deal with, people on the other side, whatever you want to call them, spirits. You have a grumpy ghost. A grumpy ghost, you move into a house, and usually it happens in like a bedroom or something where it just seems to be you move something and it gets moved back where it originally was. Stuff like that happens. Sometimes it'll lash out at that one particular person, but that one doesn't matter if it's an adult or if it's a child. It doesn't really matter. It's just lashing out at whoever. We had one client, the whole fight was about a damn knife that was neither of them because we got rid of it. Neither of them have it now, and there's no more activity in that house. They can get attached to material objects, and that's very common for a grumpy ghost. Grumpy ghost has lived there all their life or a good part of their life. It's where they were happiest. It's where they want to be. And now you come in, you're living there now. They don't always realize they're past and they're gone. Cheryl, thanks for jumping on. They don't always realize that they've passed and moved on. Then you bump up to a higher, you can get to an entity. An entity you're dealing with, that is not good. You have both a demonic and a non-demonic. Demon sometimes is actually easier to deal with. There is actually rules. That really sounds weird to even say that, especially when you're dealing with a demon. An entity is usually something that's going to target, it definitely likes to target young kids. It will pick on one at a time as far as until it really can build up control. The rest of the people in the house, demons do the same thing. You won't necessarily see what's happening, but with an entity, you're not smelling that particular, there's a couple of smells that are wrapped to a demonic entity as opposed to a non-demonic. Normally those are going to be, the attic or the basement is going to be the real bad areas to go into a house where both of these are going to usually stay. Sometimes it's a particular closet with a entity that's attacking a kid. That's very common. They'll act like that they're their friend or something, and then they try to get them to do really bad. You'll notice all of a sudden that person's behavior turns very negative. Where demonic, the person is just scared into oblivion. It's how much can they scare them, and their personality, the only reason their personality changes from a demonic issue is from the oppression when they limit the amount of sleep they get. They're just trying to terrorize the hell out of them until they can break them down, but they're not as threatening as a straight entity would be. So sorry about the long-windedness.
So Robin says, in the vent in the one bedroom, a couple crosses found wrapped in a rag. She still has them. And then Robert wants to know, how can you tell if you have an entity or not? He's curious if the location has one or not.
Robin, did stuff start to happen after they took the crosses out of the vent? Or was that just something they found when they were in the house? Because that might have been something that started something because you moved them.
That's another big deal. Again, remember what I said as far as the grumpy ghost, if you move something, but sometimes things are placed in locations.
And also if they were crosses, they might have been preventing something from mucking about.
They're placed in locations for protection. And if they were in vents and they're kind of out of the way, out of sight, but they're there, it was probably to protect something in that particular room or to keep something within. That happens as well. Ginger, thanks for being on. Sandy, welcome back. Glad to have you on.
Can grumpy turn into demon?
No. Two different energies. Just up above a little bit.
Go back up, Danny.
I'll go to angels in just a minute. Deborah, hang in there just a sec. Go up a little farther. I'm sorry, we're trying to catch up on some of your questions real quick.
Up.
A little higher. I know there was another.
That one. How can you tell if it's an entity or not?
How can you tell if it's an entity or not? We're looking for trademarks in particular. Most people are going to report if it's something really bad. And again, I'm going to say this, and it doesn't mean that you have goosebumps when you walk in your basement. There's something horrible there. I'm not saying that. But typically, it's going to reside in a basement or attic. They definitely, like a demon, will have no problem making all kinds of noise, doing whatever it wants. It's not scared to have multiple people know it's there. An entity likes to get power over one before it starts taking over more of the house itself. There's a particular presence that's in there. A demon side of it, there's certain telltale signs. If you go on, you'll look it up. The smell of sulfur is absolute. Rotten eggs, rotten meat, those are real big for demonic. But an entity that does not put off those, you will not even smell that, but it doesn't mean that there's not one there. And signs. A lot of people want to say, hey, I see, she's got three scratches. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. That's a demon. That's not the case. Again, that could not be farther from the truth. The whole point about the three knocks, it's all supposedly mocking of the Trinity, and I'm sorry, but that's been blown way out of proportion. If something wants to be a little schmuck, it's going to be a little schmuck.
Remodeling
Absolutely.
makes it worse.
Perfect, Cheryl. Remodeling, and that's more so, again, going back to the grumpy ghost, you're going to change something in somebody's house that they've had it that way for so long. And that's like when they say that now in these different locations, they see this ghost or spirit, a ghost is seen passing through the hall and going through a particular area. Most of the time, there used to be a door at that location. That's still the footprint that particular energy knows. Deborah's asking about angels. Great questions, guys. You guys are really getting on some really good questions. Angels, your belief is your belief by far, but angels are absolutely out there. We utilize angels ourselves. There's certain things that angels will help with. Angels may not always be the nicest to a human. Basically.
You have good and you have bad, just like everything else.
And they're basically, you have to be a bodyguard for something that, there's more favoritism to the higher power than yourself. You kind of get irritated by it, so you can understand that. But angels, you can actually, it's no different. You have spirit guides, which are those that help an individual. You have angels that can definitely help and do a tremendous amount. Learning how to know they're around is not the easy part by far.
Hey, Linda.
But there are things that will come through to you. We do call on angels. Josh, thanks for being on.
Josh is a buddy of Laura and I's.
There you go. Keep them. Keep inviting. Go over there and invite. That's all you got to do. Great questions, guys, by far. We just want to definitely want to make sure we cover. And if you have a question, whether or not something is very negative in yours, we'd love to be able to help you out as much as possible. We're fortunate. We've got different people. Cheryl's on right now. Janie, obviously. When Teresa's, there's a whole slew of people that we have that actually watch that have abilities. That's the easiest for us because Janie can look and tell me if we're dealing with an elemental, if we're dealing with a gen, if we're dealing with an entity. Depending on her reaction, for her herself, and same thing for anybody else who has abilities. When you get around serious evil, like a demon, that you're going to have a certain reaction, and that's going to be a bigger telltale sign for us. With Janie, if she starts to throw up, I know, okay, we're dealing with the worst. We're dealing with the demon at this point. So, anybody want to take this one, or I'll take it? Robin's. She's asking a question.
I don't know about that one.
What are your thoughts on suicide? Do they remain where they did the act? We know it's factually. There's no question about it. And that's one thing you can look up statistics on the internet. Yeah, you're more likely going to run into a location where suicide has happened at that is going to continue to have a lot of energy trapped inside of it.
Whether it's residual or not, it could be residual from the act itself.
It can be. It's more likely, though, that energy is actually in that house. You'll hear a few of the serial killers, their house, where they had people in their house. You hear all kinds of stories, and they're saying, hey, they're still there. That's very realistic, and they try to keep those same spirits with them. They don't try to let them cross out of there. We've been to a lot of locations that can be controlled by a stronger energy, regardless if you like it or not. The stronger spirit's there. If it's a bad spirit, it can hold other spirits there. That is true.
What does it mean when they are hiding behind a child's identity? Because the psychic said there are 2 children in our house, but they are not children. They are hiding behind the faces of children.
That is typical of an entity that we were talking about earlier. Very often an entity, even a demon, either one of them will come over as being a child because it's less threatening. It's easier to get into. It's very common for, especially an entity and more so, to go ahead and try to befriend children, especially one in particular. They usually go after one in particular they put their sights on, and they try to befriend them. Doesn't mean that every imaginary friend is an entity. Please don't take it that way. But that's where you really want to watch the way that your son or daughter or the child reacts, because it'll get to a point when all of a sudden they want to do something. They're not accustomed to being on water, and all of a sudden you find them out on the dock. Hey, there's somebody drawing them out there. That's not what they would normally do. Watch for changes in their behavior. That is very true.
Have you ever heard of marks in 2s instead of 3s? And what about the smell of wood rose or sweet shrub?
Haven't had no issues as far as about the particular smells. As far as the 2s instead of 3s.
Scratches, or we've had all different ones.
Yeah.
And bites.
bites as well. And again, when we really going to go off the reservation now, when we're talking, normally we're talking about people that have crossed over, spirits, people on the other side. We're just calling them spirits. We definitely know. I wholeheartedly believe in the people with abilities. Sorry,
for joining us,
had to give a holler out for Sid. Appreciate you being on there, buddy, and Scott. But there are so many other things that are out there that are not human, that are not the same size we are. Things that are only 18 inches to almost 2 feet tall. You know, they can be more aggressive, especially for somebody who has abilities. So we've seen some crazy bite marks, scars come up from those. Janie, unfortunately, has been the recipient of more of those. I like trying to play soccer with them, even though I can't see them. It's all fun.
Ginger said when her daughter Lauren was 4 years old, their family went to the hospice center to visit her grandma. They didn't tell her anything about what was going on other than that she was sick. When we opened the door, Lauren took a huge gasp and said, "Oh, Mommy, look at all the angels."
Wow.
My youngest son did the same thing, whereas he was at home before he was actually in my life. He was very young at the time. And my wife now, he said, "Mommy, his granddad was on the roof with the angels." Or no, that was Nanny Penny had gone with the angels. A particular person had gone with the angels. And she said, "You know, of course, she's always with them." And like, no, she's gone with them. And they got a phone call that her heart had stopped, you know, minutes after that. And another time he'd actually seen his grandfather sitting on the roof with the angels. So I wholeheartedly believe in that.
This one for you, Rob. Have you thought about writing another book with more advice, paranormal techniques, and theories?
Advanced.
David, I actually
Or
had
advanced
just
paranormal.
started writing a whole different book by far. It's not so much just the technique side of it. It's more about being in the field, dealing with some of our experiences itself, and I really want to capture a lot more to it. It's probably going to be a pretty long book, a lot more, and it have some more advanced theories that you're saying. It definitely have that captured in it. This is the first time I've actually said that I just started writing again. But that's just in the works now. Thanks for asking.
We're finding out at the same time you are.
Yeah, no, I haven't even told my own wife, so just starting.
Spoiler!
Happy anniversary, honey.
I do like putting it out there, and again, that's what this is about. I mean, we really like sharing the information out there, and we're not putting anybody down. We don't mean any disrespect to anybody. We're just telling you what we have learned. This is straight up what we have learned from the field. We've fallen on our face doing lives when we first started. If you watch some of our old videos, watch some of the crazy stuff that happens.
So bad.
We have fallen on our face many a times, and again, we will in the future. It's going to happen. It's just part of the routine. Everything we do is unscripted, and that goes for being, you know, whether we're doing the investigations or if we're doing these, anything we do, that's our culture. So we kind of live at the moment. Whatever happens, happens. So even on live, and there's going to be times you guys are going to get a heck of a crack out of it, and there's sometimes, you know, it is what it is.
I think some of the best material comes when we're not on camera.
There's a whole lot of stuff that happens, but unfortunately, as we're getting a little bit more advanced and we're trying to change up and trying to give you guys more of a view of what really goes on, you're probably going to see more of these moments caught that you guys will get to see because they're going to be live. We really do. We've been talking about on the production side of it for people to be able to jump in behind the scenes and really be able to watch as we're setting up. It's not going to be as interactive and scripted unless we have somebody sitting there with it, which we might. But we want you guys to be able to capture the whole essence of the investigation. So you're probably going to see stuff happen. Diane, thanks for being on. You need to update me on what's going on with somebody we know. I have not heard anything for a long time.
Have you ever run into a succubus situation?
Incubus and succubus. Succubus is a female spirit. What people call them, demons and everything else. I don't think they're demons. But they come and they're basically, it's sexual in nature. You have an incubus that's the
We ran into one of those.
female version. We did have that. We had a woman who, she worked the graveyard shift because she did not want to sleep at night because it was always visiting at nighttime. We did get rid of it, long story short. She was able to sleep with the lights off for a change, which she had not done in 20, 30 years. She was able to sleep on her back or any position she wanted, which she had not done in 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
She actually went through a point of depression because she was so used to this energy coming, whatever it was, you know, the way it was explained, it was definitely a succubus. Or incubus. She was so accustomed to that coming that she almost felt like it was almost like a major breakup with a boyfriend, for goodness sakes.
Diane said he has given up.
I haven't heard anything else out of him. It's I
Haley,
would love
good to see you. Been a while.
Yeah, definitely. Again, if you have something going on, it's Bradley just jumped on.
Hey,
That's
Bradley.
great. It's so hard because I mean we want to help all the time, in all sincerity. The person, the individual, somehow it's hard when you're reaching out at a distance trying to help somebody. They have got to have an interest in helping themselves, or you can't do it for them.
So we've been able to help a lot, but there have been some that we haven't been able to help.
Unfortunately, it's not that we don't want to, but people have always, there's very little steps, and it's no different than if somebody calls, there's a few questions I'm going to ask in particular, because you'll find out who's really asking and who's just pulling your leg, who genuinely wants help and who is just asking for attention, and it's a
Or
fine
that they're
line.
making it up.
That as well. You know, it's a fine line in there. With Diane, in her case that she's talking about, who's given up, I believe him. He's resolved to saying, hey, it's just in his mind, and it's not.
Scroll back up, though. Ginger said she personally loves being able to be a part of our lives because she's in an electric wheelchair and could never go to the ghost hunts that are offered to the public.
Wow.
Who else? Oh, man, I wish I could remember who it was off the top of my head. There's another gentleman that does the same thing. He's in a wheelchair, and he loves to go ahead and
I know
investigate.
exactly who you're talking about, and his last name starts with C. I can't remember his first name. Is his name Robert?
I know it's an R name, and I swear I don't think I don't know.
I haven't seen him in a
apologize.
while.
Ginger, we love it by all means. And again, you don't have to agree with everything we say. If you see something, you think something different, say so. Love to have it. I know, was Bill talking about his sheets getting tore up? Was he being real?
He's
We don't want to know
Bill.
about your one night stands, Bill.
Bill can open up so much. Vicky, hey, thanks for being on. You're killing me now. Oh my gosh.
I wish there was a preview option for Bill's comment.
Go back up.
Joe, there it was. That's his name.
Not in
Joe.
his
There it
mind
is.
if
Thanks,
his
Sandy.
Patton's experience it too, parents
Not in
experience
mine.
it too.
No, exactly. Yeah, no, his mother was definitely experiencing it. This individual was, he was resolved that it must be his mind. He must be messed up. But he's giving these details that is not from somebody who is psychologically having an issue. And I'm not trying to override what any shrinks say out there. We're not trying to do that, but we know there's a lot of misdiagnosing that has been happening. And then even that field's broken half on what to believe and what not to believe.
Are there any tests that can be performed to tell if your home may be possessed?
Pretty much if the dog walks on the walls, that's a good test. Sweetie, I'm sorry, I'm playing, I'm making light of it, and I apologize. There are different signs that there's no true test. If you really want to find out, start with the religious artifacts. More than likely, it's going to be something extremely negative if your house is possessed or have its own mind to it that's happening all around your house. Usually there's going to be a spot that's basically like the heart. It's either going to be in the basement or it's going to be in the attic, and I'm betting if that's the case, Michelle, you go into one of those, it's going to freak you absolutely out that you do not want to be in one of those two locations. That's the most common. Playing religious music and watching for activity happening can absolutely happen. Religious prayers, bringing in, we had a location where it was kind of ironic because Gilson had just given me a couple little tiny pocket Bibles. I can't even read them because the print is so small, honestly. But it's just the idea of having them there. And we went in and went through one round, and we were going back for the second round, and I shoved one in my back pocket. And we got up in there, and then Janie immediately started going, who brought that book up? Who brought the book up here? Well, she couldn't see in my back pocket. She had no idea that I had a Bible. So I pulled it out and said, that's what he's so mad about. So he immediately reacted to it. Holy water works great.
Sid just put on there, he can answer any questions about demonic possessions or hauntings.
There you go, Sid. Feel free. That's right. I forgot. That's excellent.
Real quick, just a
Yeah.
shout out to Linda Dix. She sent me a message the other day about a camera that she had gotten for Christmas. I am still looking into it, and I will get back to you, I promise.
Linda has come out and hung out with us before. It's been great. We had her family out with us. Now she started her team up. And again, if you have your team, if you want, you can go ahead and throw your link under comments. Put the link to your team. You're more than welcome to anytime we're on. German Shepherds, very well as spirits around. Dogs and cats are very in tune. Unfortunately, for all you cat lovers out there, if there's something extremely negative, cats are not a welcome thing around a demon. Just tell you that right now. So if your cat goes missing or something really bad happens to your cat, I can tell you pretty much what happened. So just a note to self.
I'll say that's interesting because when I'm in the computer room sometimes at night, our cat will sit in the corner and just stare at it.
Animals interact. Animals know what's going on. And everybody that's watching,
Why don't you see what I see, dang it?
Some people are automatically going to say, well, hold it. There could be a mouse in a wall. And you're absolutely right. Mice in the wall, absolutely. They could hear it. You can't see it. You can't even know it's there, but your cat or dog might. No question. But there's other times when you're going to see it and it's staring into space and it just follows whatever it is around.
Bill says you and him need 12 by 14 Bibles so you guys can read
See,
them.
now we're on the same page, Bill. No doubt about it. Yeah, I've got a pretty good size one now.
The link I just put up is the group page.
Excellent.
So if people
Okay.
want to share their teams on that one as well.
That's true. If you want to do a regular share, we do have the group page that Jeremy just put up there. That one's so that if you have an event coming up you want to share on, if you want to share your team link onto it, that's fine. If you're willing to go ahead and have other people share on yours, just put it on there when you put your link on there. That's perfect. And then we try to go ahead and, again, it's a way of networking. Same thing for the Para-Unities. If you go on for Para-Unity, Henny's got a Para-Unity page, and Jennifer McCart's got a Para-Unity page. Check them both out. There's a lot of teams that want to network out there. Sid can confirm to that go down just a little bit. He's saying cats are very tuned. Even the Egyptians used to believe that obviously they had a lot of power for that to help keep away negativity. But unfortunately, a lot of demons will overtake one. Para-Unity, you know, I hear a lot of people talking about so much negativity in the field and everything, and try not to get sucked into that as often as unfortunately you can. There's plenty of
their
stuff
way
out there.
is the only way. It's a lot of the mindset.
There's 2 Para-Unity pages in particular. Like I said, Henny's got one and Jennifer's got the other Para-Unity. You just type it in, you'll find it. As far as just look them up and go into it. You'll see that there's teams on there. They're sharing. The idea is to get more and more teams to start sharing their ideas. You don't have to share your one particular spot that you go to, but even your theories, like Robert was saying, if you have a theory and you're getting it, the first time you start telling people there's a gatekeeper, and then all of a sudden somebody's going, I said there was a person that always seemed to be like in control. Sometimes you'll be at a location and this deep voice will come on, and then everything goes dead. Like that person takes control of it, and the person says that's gatekeeper theory. Never even heard of it before. I just know what I've experienced. So it's neat to start talking to other people. Some will not believe in it, and that's perfectly fine. Some will. The whole point is communicating with respect. It doesn't matter if you believe or don't believe. You can still go ahead and give your side, just listen to what the other person is saying. That's all we're saying, all we're trying to get out there.
That link is Henny's group.
All right, that's the Para-Unity for Henny that was just put up by Jeremy. Thank you very much, Jeremy, for putting that one up.
I'm going to look to get the other one too.
You just pinned it also?
Yeah.
So it'll be at the top. Cool, thank you. We appreciate that.
I'll go ahead and unpin it in case it's blocking anybody.
No, you,
Well, Janie's always like, whenever we pin something, it blocks her comments.
okay.
That's Janie. That's Janie.
I don't know if it does it for anybody
What
else.
should have any advice on decently priced equipment a few years back?
Oh wow, they
Wow.
got 6,000. That sucks.
Wow.
Sid, honestly, there's 5 or 6 really good pages on here on Facebook itself for paranormal equipment sales. I've sold on several of them. They've gone over really, really well. All different countries are using them. Definitely look up on Facebook right now when you get it. Well, after we're done. Don't do it now. We're almost done. But definitely go on Facebook for paranormal equipment, and there's several pages you can get in on. The prices are really good. And if you don't see what you're looking for, type into it what you want, and then somebody more than likely will offer what they have in particular.
I just put a link to Jennifer McCart's Paraunity also.
Thank you very much. Hope you guys heard that. The other Paraunity page was just put up there as far as the link. So again, check those out. Go to Michelle's.
Yeah. She got 2 marks and smells. I'm religious and wear my cross always, but everyone here is becoming worse here. My sister-in-law has had 7 suicide attempts. She's no longer here. My nephew, 19, has gotten worse, started smoking and drinking and swearing like you would not believe. My son is a physicist and he has sleep paralysis, crazy livid dreams, and becoming reclusive, so on and so on.
Yep, man, it sounds like you've got something in the house going on in all sincerity. With that many people being affected, I just had a location just recently. Her son had moved in, stayed in the basement for a couple of weeks, and he almost nearly instantly changed personalities to a point that he was telling his mother he wanted to kill her. How much he hated her, and they've never had that relation. Their relation has always been perfect. Then I think it was one of her daughters had come in and ended up having some really bad reactions down there too. So again, people that are getting put in these places,
Michelle's sister moved out. She didn't. So
and it's unfortunate. Michelle, just for yourself, one simple way to go, you're spiritual, you're religious, get holy water. It's worth doing. Basically, you're going to go around everywhere as far as every door, even every sink and every window, and you're actually going to go ahead and put a little holy water. You can place the sign of the cross, and then whichever prayer you want to use. And it's just a matter of what comes off your head. It doesn't have to be an actual prayer, for goodness sakes. As long as you mean what's behind it, you know, and a very simple one. If you're not of the love of God, you're not welcome in this house. Only positive energies are allowed in this house. You're not going to hurt anybody that's a family member that's passed. Anything that's positive to you, you're not going to keep out. They can come anytime they want. That's completely free will for them. But it will help keep out others that you don't want to have. A lot of times start on 1 or 2 rooms, do exactly what I said, go in there, especially if you would sage it first, open like a window or a door, crack it open, go ahead and sage it, go counterclockwise, sage it really, really well, even the closets, drawers, anything like that, and then use the holy water, try it and see what happens. Normally we'll test part of a house before we do the entire house to see if the activity changes, and
or move it to one part of the location.
It constantly will move it, and nothing will happen back on this.
She said she has a smudging kit. She's just not sure of the prayer to use.
Again, we'll be glad to go ahead and I got some that I can send you. It's not a problem. It's whatever in your heart. You do not have to use a pre-written one, or you can go online and print them up. There's tons of them online. It's perfect. You're just looking for anything that's saying, you know, as the smoke descends and clears, so shall all negative energy. Anything to that point. Basically, as the smoke goes and clears, so shall all the negativity. Because that's what it's actually doing. It is actually adhering to the negativity and draining them. So there's more that you can do on it. And again, the more you get into it, you get a little more creative about it. But we'll be glad to work with you on that. I can't say anything about the way they curse. Boy Live has really made it curtail some of mine. So it's been a good thing. We're just about out of time. If anybody, we're out of time, doesn't really matter, but we are going to sign off here in just a minute. If anybody has another question, go ahead and throw it up there real quick before we get off here. We are going to go ahead and see if anybody has any shout outs or anything you want to say. Steph?
No, just send love and light to my friend. She lost her grandfather. So.
Oh, sorry to hear that, by far. Gladly. Laura?
I just want to say thanks for joining us again, guys, and thanks for sharing your stories and thoughts with us. We appreciate it every week, and we look forward to the new year spent with you guys and the cases and all the new things that we get to learn together. So.
Jeremy?
Big shout out to all of you guys, the new ones and the ones that have been following us. It's been a great year. We've definitely grown a lot this year with our feeds and streams and getting to know you guys, and definitely looking forward to 2019 for sure.
Danny?
I think Jeremy hit most of it, but I just hope that I can get through this next semester. It's my last semester, and then I'll graduate and I'll be done. Thank goodness. And then we get married the month after. So we have a pretty decent year coming up as far as things to do and we still have a lot of planning and stuff to get done. And
Is there a marriage in coming up this year? Something like that?
No, not this year.
not this year.
Next year.
Is it next year?
Mm-hmm.
Just so everybody knows, these two right here, Danny and Steph, are getting married in June of 2019.
Yep,
So
he's
we're.
taking my last name.
Okay, so it is this year coming up. I'm sorry. I mean, we'll think of it this year. All right, good.
It's a few days away, and it will be this year.
Exactly.
We appreciate all the comments that you guys give. Like Sid just put on there, one of the greatest teams out there. So
Yeah,
we love
honestly, we do appreciate that. And if, anything we can do to, again, it's two-way street. We try to show you guys we're as open as can be. We're open with any of our information. We're always willing to learn. So if you guys got something, and I hate criticism, so give it to Jeremy. Let him break it to me. But you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, we love getting your feedback.
Yeah.
It makes us feel like we are doing the right thing. We are on the right path, and we know that we can continue to go forward. We're not going backwards. So thank you guys.
And we do have some good stuff coming up too.
We do.
Yes.
Very
Yes, we do.
exciting.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot that's going to be coming up, and again, we will be getting it out there. We will get a schedule out there for you guys to know when we're going to be doing some of our live ghost hunts. We look forward to doing them just about out of the holidays as far as to get this behind us next week, and then we'll be able to start getting some stuff out there. Love having you guys with us so much by far. Again, if you have any questions, hit us up. We'll just give you our own insight. Do with it what you will. If somebody's dealing with something serious, please hit me up. I'll be glad to go ahead and work with you one-on-one. And again, you do what you want with it. We can just offer the information to you. It's up to you what you do with it. God bless everybody. Love having you guys with us.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Night.
Right, guys.
See you in
Happy
the
New Year.
Year.